She was America's sweetheart, the sitcom star who married a rock god and built a life in the spotlight, until grief, legacy, and a headline-making inheritance turned everything upside down. Valerie Bertinelli's name is back in the news, not for a new show or cookbook, but for what she received after Eddie Van Halen's passing, a significant portion of his estate. But this isn't just about money. It's about memory, music, and motherhood. Valerie's journey from one day at a time to navigating the emotional weight of Eddie's legacy has sparked public fascination. As her son Wolfgang Van Halen continues to rise in the music world, Valerie's quiet strength and candid reflections have made her inheritance story one of healing, not drama. In this episode of Past Paradise, we unpack the real story behind the headlines, how love, loss, and legacy collided, and why Valerie's next chapter might be her most powerful yet. Lisa Marie Presley's will sparks a family firestorm. Multiple sources estimated Lisa Marie's net worth to be around $300 million in 2025, although at the time of her death it was reported to be negative $16 million due to debts and financial mismanagement. Upon Elvis's death in 1977, he left his entire estate initially valued at approximately $5 million to Lisa Marie. By the time she inherited it in 1993, the estate had appreciated to about $100 million, largely due to the success of Graceland as a tourist attraction. Lisa Marie retained a 15% stake in EPE, which owns and operates Graceland. She earned approximately $104,000 per month from EPE and an additional $4,361 per month as an employee of Graceland. In 2004, Lisa Marie sold 85% of her stake in EPE for $100 million, retaining 15%. She invested part of the proceeds into American Idol, though this venture did not yield significant returns. Lisa pursued a music career, releasing several albums. While not commercially blockbuster, her music contributed to her income and public profile. She owned multiple properties, including estates in California and the UK, which appreciated in value over time. Despite her assets, Lisa Marie faced significant difficulties in debt. She owned approximately $16.7 million in debts, including a $1 million tax liability. Her monthly expenses exceeded $92,000, including $23,500 in rent and $1,078 for Maserati payments. She sued her former business manager for mismanaging her finances, which contributed to her financial woes. Following Lisa's death, her estate became the subject of legal disputes. Zendaya's net worth skyrockets after Emmy win. Zendaya rose to fame starring in Shake It Up, 2010-13, and Casey Undercover, 2015-2018, building both a fan base and steady income from acting, residuals, and early endorsements. Her estimated net worth by 2023 was about $22 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth, thanks to acting, endorsements, Lancome, Louis Vuitton, etc., and real estate holdings. Zendaya's powerhouse role as Rue earned her 2 Primetime Emmys, making her the youngest 2-time acting winner. By season 3, she renegotiated her HBO deal to $1 million per episode, coupled with producing credits that brought in substantial back-end profit. The Spider-Man franchise earned her significant bonuses, $10 million for No Way Home. The Dune franchise earned $300,000 for Dune, 2021, and around $2 million for Dune Part 2, 2024. She maintains exclusivity by carefully choosing endorsements and limiting volume, which amplifies her market value. Zendaya bought a $1.4 million home in Northridge, California, 2017, and in 2020 she upgraded to a $4 million Encino home. Some of her other investments are in sustainable startups and fashion-related ventures that are contributing to her diversified income stream. In 2025, her total net worth is estimated to be around $30 million by multiple reliable sources. How Keanu Reeves quietly built a massive net worth. During his teenage years, Keanu pursued a career in acting while taking part-time jobs such as sharpening ice skates and working in a gourmet grocery store. He was raised in a community that was not particularly wealthy. Early on, he received a meager sum of perhaps $3,000 for the film Youngblood, 1986, and approximately $95,000 for the film Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 1989. This was followed by a continuous ascent, a steady climb followed by $1.2 million for Speed, 1994, and around $8 million for The Devil's Advocate, 1997. During the production of The Matrix, 1999, Keanu accepted an upfront compensation of $10 million and cleverly negotiated back-end profit participation, which resulted in a windfall of $35 million for him from the first film. According to estimates, his back-end earnings from the entirety of the Matrix trilogy amount to between $200 and $250 million. Keanu, who is known for his generosity, purposefully decreased his take to open up more funds for the production of special effects and costumes. His box office dominance was brought back to life by the John Wick franchise. An estimated total of $22 million was earned by him as a result of his appearances in the series, which included back-end arrangements, especially the fact that Keanu made $15 million for John Wick Chapter 4, 2023. In 2011, Keanu was one of the co-founders of Arch Motorcycle Company, which is a manufacturer of high-end custom motorbikes with a value of more than $80,000 each. This venture contributed approximately $5 million to his net worth. In 2021, the Berserker comic series was released, and it has since sold more than 615,000 copies. Netflix has won the rights to adapt the series, which promises enormous profit in the future. Keanu has embarked on several extra endeavors, including the establishment of company films and the publishing business X-Artist Books. Experts generally predict that Keanu's net worth will range from $380 million to $400 million in 2025. Margot Robbie's net worth soars after Barbie's success. In 2023, Payday from Barbie, Margot was initially paid $12.5 million for portraying and producing Barbie, making her the highest-paid actress that year. Her total earnings from film, along with back-end deals and bonuses tied to the film's box office success, over $1.4 billion worldwide. She reportedly earned up to $50 million from Barbie. This was the turning point in her career. One film nearly doubled her prior wealth in a single pay cycle. In 2025, Parade estimates Robbie's net worth around $60 million, noting a $20 million increase since 2023, largely due to her Barbie windfall. Some sources value her net worth closer to $75 million, factoring in production income, endorsements, and real estate. Her wealth clearly reflects the impact of her Barbie success, plus savvy career diversification. Other revenue streams fueling growth includes co-founding Lucky Chap Entertainment in 2014. Robbie's production company has produced Tanya and Barbie. Lucky Chap Entertainment has significantly boosted her earnings, with industry estimates attributing $15 to $20 million of her net worth to the company's profits. Harley Quinn films, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. Robbie earned an estimated $10 to $15 million across these roles. Robbie's brand ambassador roles include Calvin Klein and Nissan, bringing in multi-million-dollar annual earnings and $1 to $2 million for Calvin Klein. Emma Watson's net worth made headlines again. Multiple reputable sources estimate Emma Watson's net worth at approximately $85 million as of 2025. Some estimates put it slightly higher, around $90 million, reflecting steady growth and diversified income streams. Emma earned an estimated $70 million from the Harry Potter franchise. She commanded fees of around $4 million for Order of the Phoenix and $30 million for the final two Deathly Hallows films combined. Beauty and the Beast earned her $15 million, base salary plus participation, from a film that grossed over $1.2 billion worldwide. Emma collaborated with Lancome, Burberry, and Calvin Klein, with estimated earnings of $5 to $10 million per year from endorsements. In 2023, she launched Renee's, a sustainable gym brand co-founded with her brother, certified carbon neutral and rapidly expanding globally. As of January 2025, Renee's has raised over $6 million in investment. Emma served on the board of Kering, 2020 to 2023 and continues to advocate for sustainable fashion. She invested in Hertility, reproductive health startup, and Fabric Nano, sustainable material technology, demonstrating thoughtful diversification. Emma owns properties, including a $3.3 million home in London and a ski chalet in Maribel, France, around $1.2 million. Emma is known for a measured financial lifestyle, avoiding extravagant displays despite significant earnings. The recent €5 million funding injection for Renee's has ignited interest in Watson's venture. Her shift to business and activism, paired with sustained brand power, keeps her financial story compelling. Emma's combination of high earnings, academic pursuits, and advocacy creates a unique and inspiring narrative. Anna Nicole Smith's estate battle returns to court. J. Howard Marshall II, a Texas oil billionaire, was one she married in 1994. At the time of their marriage, Marshall was 89 years old, while Smith was only 26 years old. In 1995, around 14 months after the couple had married, Marshall passed away, leaving behind a will that left his entire wealth, which was estimated to be worth over $1.6 billion, to his son, E. Pierce Marshall, with the exception of Smith. Smith asserted that Marshall had orally promised her a big percentage of the estate on top of the gifts and money that he had given her, despite the fact that the will was in place. She frequently asserted that the amount was greater than $300 million. This marked the beginning of a legal war that would last for decades, with major legal milestones, in roughly chronological order, and initial decisions made by the Texas Probate Court. The jurisdiction for administering Marshall's will was the state of Texas. The claims that Smith made were defeated. In the meantime, E. Pierce Marshall's position, which was to defend his father's will, became the focal point of the case. The state courts ruled that the will was legitimate and that she did not have any entitlements under the will. In an effort to take advantage of federal courts, Smith filed for bankruptcy in California. In the early 2000s, the United States Bankruptcy Court in California awarded Smith $474 million from the Marshall estate. This was a significant victory for Smith, despite the fact that it was contested. This verdict was eventually lowered significantly to approximately $89 million by a different federal court, Judge David Carter, which cited findings of fraud, interference, and mismanagement on the part of E. Pierce Marshall in blocking Smith's access to her husband. Robert Downey Jr.'s investments made him even richer. It is projected that Robert's net worth is somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 million as of the year 2025. His total income from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU alone, which includes Iron Man, Avengers, and other related appearances, ranges from $500 million to $600 million. This information exemplifies his great financial accomplishment in Hollywood and demonstrates the extent of his success in the entertainment industry. Both Robert Downey and his wife, Susan Downey, are responsible for the establishment of the production company that is known as Team Downey in the year 2010. The production of films like The Judge and television shows like Perry Mason on HBO and Sweet Tooth on Netflix are both examples of the work that Team Downey has been responsible for. Because of this initiative, he has transitioned from being merely an actor to becoming a media entrepreneur. He is now not only able to earn paychecks, but he also has creative control and equity in the company. In 2019, Downey launched the Footprint Coalition, which is a nonprofit organization that combines narrative, charity, and investments in environmentally responsible technology. Footprint Coalition Ventures is a rolling venture fund that is housed on AngelList. It generates funds on a quarterly basis from accredited investors in order to encourage entrepreneurs who are committed to sustainability. The year 2021 marked the beginning of his transformation of the endeavor into Footprint Coalition Ventures. Additionally, he has highlighted Motif Foodworks as one of the important businesses that he has included in his investor portfolio. It is estimated that he established the fund with approximately $10 million of his own money. Downey invests in technology companies such as 1Password, which specializes in cybersecurity, Forethought, which uses artificial intelligence for customer service, Kindred Motorworks, which specializes in electric restored vintage cars, and Ethos, which specializes in insurtech. Downey's investment strategy is centered on the concept of sustainability. Heath Ledger's hidden heirs stir up Hollywood. Heath Ledger was an Australian actor who was born in 1979. He became famous all over the world for his roles in movies like Brokeback Mountain and The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger gained international recognition for his work. So that his will would be legally binding, he signed it on April 12, 2003, before his daughter Matilda was born. This was done so that it would be enforceable. As a consequence of this, Matilda was not included in the will. Hence, the will left his property to his parents, Kim Ledger and Sally Bell, as well as to his three sisters, Ashley, Kate, and Olivia, after taking into consideration any debts and other commitments that may have been incurred. Due to the fact that Matilda was born after the will was written, there was a legal dispute, regarding whether or not she was accidentally left out of the will and whether or not she may claim a portion or all of the inheritance in accordance with the applicable laws, also known as permitted child or omitted child statutes. Matilda was born after the will was written. It was because of this event that the hidden heir problem arose. However, these allegations have not been shown to be genuine. There were also allegations in the media that Ledger might have fathered another child in Australia previously before Matilda, but these allegations have not been proven to be accurate. Among the concerns that were voiced by Ledger's uncles was the question of whether or not his father, Kim Ledger, would be able to successfully manage Heath's fortune. As an illustration, they made reference to experiences that had taken place in the past. During his time in Australia, Kim had been acting in the capacity of executor of the estate that had been established by Sir Frank Ledger on behalf of his grandfather. On the other hand, according to Ledger's uncles, the estate was mismanaged and went into debt, which led to Kim being dismissed from his role as executor of the estate. Whitney Houston's fortune reignites family feud. In the will that Whitney had initially completed in 1993, she identified her only child as the beneficiary. Bobby Christina Brown is the only person who stands to benefit from her estate. There are staggered payouts in the will that are set up for Bobby Christina, such as 10% when she was 21 years old, another share, 1/6, when she turned 25, and the remaining half when she turned 30. Whitney Houston also appointed her mother, Cissy Houston, to the position of executor of the estate. Additionally, her sister-in-law, Pat or Marion Houston, and her brother, Michael, were appointed to the position of trustees or co-trustees. Some members of Whitney's family voiced their concerns regarding Bobby Christina's capacity to handle money and the possibility of improper influence even before the first distribution was scheduled to take place. To be more specific, the trustees, which included Cissy Houston, submitted court applications in order to get the payment schedule that was outlined in the will changed or delayed. In their argument, they suggested that the current payment schedule could result in the wasting of trust assets or leave Bobby Christina in a financially perilous situation. According to the terms of the will, Bobby Christina's distributions at the ages of 25 and 30 were still outstanding when she reached the age of 21, which triggered a scheduled transfer of 10% of the trust to her. Sadly, Bobby Christina passed away on July 26 before she was eligible to receive additional planned distributions between the ages of 25 and 30. This is due to the fact that her passing occurred before she was able to receive her complete inheritance. Whitney Houston's will includes a contingency clause in the event that Bobby Christina passed away without having any children. Those members of Whitney's family who are still alive would be entitled to the remaining portion of the fortune. Dwayne Johnson's net worth leaves Hollywood speechless. 1996 marks the beginning of Dwayne's wrestling career, and he makes his debut in WWE, which was once known as WWF, under the ring name Rocky Maivia. He later rebranded himself as The Rock, becoming a charismatic and trash-talking fan favorite. After becoming a WWE champion 8 times, he was instrumental in bringing about the Attitude Era. His wealth was built on the foundation of sales of items and pay-per-view events that were extremely popular. Initial earnings from WWE were projected to be between $5 and $10 million. In 2001, Dwayne made his debut in Hollywood with The Mummy Returns. Subsequently, in 2002, he was cast in The Scorpion King, which reportedly netted him $5.5 million, setting a new record for a first-time lead. Through his participation in a number of action films, such as Walking Tall, Doom, and Gridiron Gang, he steadily established himself as a bankable actor. He established himself as a versatile and dependable action hero who appealed to a wide range of audiences, including families. In 2010, it was reported that Dwayne had a net worth of between $30 and $50 million. Dwayne joins the franchise in Fast 5, 2011, considerably boosting the attractiveness of the film at box offices across the world. Together with his ex-wife and business partner, Danny Gracia, he established Stephen Buck's Productions in 2012. Later, Dwayne went on to become a prominent content producer, creating films such as Ballers, Jumanji, and Red Notice. Between $20 and $25 million for every picture, in addition to back-end deals, he was one of the highest-paid actors in the world in 2015. Films released during this time period had global box office receipts of more than $4.6 billion, and their annual earnings were above $80 to $100 million. Dwayne co-founded Teremana Tequila, which quickly became one of the fastest-growing celebrity spirit brands, selling more than 600,000 cases annually by the year 2023, and the worth will reach $3.5 billion. Jennifer Aniston's net worth. Jennifer's salary growth started in Friends, 1994 to 2004. In Season 1, Jennifer started at $22,500 per episode and gradually rose to $125,000 in Season 6. In Season 7, she earned $750,000 per episode, and in Seasons 9 through 10, Jennifer reached $1 million per episode. Across the series, she made approximately $90 million in total from salaries. As part of the profit-sharing deal, the Friends cast receives 2% of the show's annual syndication earnings, with the series generating about $1 billion per year in syndication revenue. That translates to around $20 million annually just from royalties. Jennifer has starred in numerous box office hits, including Bruce Almighty, Marley and Me, The Breakup, and We're the Millers, where she reportedly earned around $75 million plus from films between 1997 and 2011, with some projects netting her $8 to $10 million per movie. In 2019, she made a celebrated return to TV as star and executive producer of Apple TV Plus's The Morning Show, where she reportedly earned around $1.25 to $2 million per episode, not including producer fees or back-end profits. Jennifer had ongoing partnerships with premium brands like Aveeno, Smartwater, and Emirates Airlines, which bring in approximately $10 million annually. She co-founded the production company Echo Films in 2008, positioning her as both talent and producer. She launched her hair care line Lola V in 2021 and previously held a stake in Living Proof, which was acquired by Unilever. Sandra Bullock's bank account. A number of credible sources estimate that Sandra Bullock's net worth in the year 2025 will be approximately $250 million. In a number of important projects, Bullock has received substantial sums of money in advance. For instance, it is said that she received over $20 million for her role in The Lost City, in addition to receiving some producing credit. In certain movies, such as Gravity, she was paid not just a certain salary, but also a portion of the revenues made at the box office. The success of her films results in a huge boost in her revenue thanks to these deals. Not only does she get money from acting in films, but she also makes money from producing films through her own production company, which is called Fortis Films. In the United States, she is the owner of a variety of properties, including those in Texas, New York, and California. It is common practice to estimate that the real estate component of her holdings is worth at least $80 million. Certain residences, such as a Beverly Hills mansion that is said to be worth tens of millions of dollars, oceanfront property in Malibu, a townhouse in Manhattan, and so on, were provided as examples. According to reports, she was one of the highest-paid actresses in 2025, receiving approximately $75 million between the middle of 2024 and 2025, although this amount may include predicted profit shares, residuals, and other payments. She is able to continue to produce revenue through media mass by working on consistent projects and production work. Robin Williams' will shocked Hollywood. In the late 1970s, Robin was cast in a part that allowed him to break through in the television program Mork and Mindy. During the 1980s and 1990s, Williams established himself as one of the most bankable performers in Hollywood. He participated in films such as Dead Poets Society, Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Will Hunting, for which he was awarded an Academy Award, and Aladdin, in which he provided the voice of the genie, among others. It is said that he made between $15 and $20 million per film when he was at the height of his career. He also made investments in art and luxury things and maintained a varied financial portfolio in addition to purchasing various homes, such as an estate in the Napa Valley and a property on the water in Tiburon, California. There were two costly divorces that Robin went through, the first with Valerie in 1988 and the second with Marcia Garces in 2010. Both of these divorces considerably affected Robin's net worth. While accepting fewer high-budget film roles in later years, some due to health reasons, and accepting more work in television or voiceovers, each divorce settlement cost tens of millions of dollars. It was apparently due to the fact that he was in need of financial assistance that he attempted to sell his Napa Valley estate at the beginning of the 2010s for about $35 million. Robin was plagued by severe sadness, anxiety, and paranoia throughout his life. The initial diagnosis was incorrectly made as Parkinson's disease. At the age of 63, he took his life on August 11, 2014, and died. Lewy body dementia is a degenerative brain condition that causes cognitive decline, hallucinations, and movement symptoms. It was discovered during an autopsy that he had Lewy body dementia after he passed away. Paul Walker's daughter fights for her legacy. Paul died in a car crash in Valencia, California, while leaving his daughter Meadow, who was only 15, shocked. The sudden loss left her not only grieving, but also in the position of being the inheritor, legally, financially, and symbolically, of her father's public persona and estate. In her father's will, Meadow was named the sole beneficiary of his estate, while she pursued a wrongful death lawsuit against Porsche, alleging design defects such as seatbelt constraints, hindering her father's escape and how it contributed to the fatal fire. Meadow also secured a settlement from the estate of the driver, Roger Rodas, while some public reporting indicates a trust in the order of $10.1 million was created in her name. After the settlement, Meadow faced online criticism and harassment, including accusations of profiting from her father's death, challenges she has navigated publicly. In 2015, Meadow established the Paul Walker Foundation, while the foundation's mission revolves around causes her father cared about: marine conservation, environmental protection, spontaneous goodwill, and youth empowerment. She has run social campaigns, do-good challenges, to engage communities and keep the spirit of her father's altruism alive. On the anniversaries of his death, Meadow routinely shares heartfelt videos and posts, like on the 10th anniversary. She posted a home video and captured 10 years without you. I love you forever. While on his 50th birthday, she posted a tribute calling him her guardian angel, acknowledging his influence over her values, while she frequently references how watching his films helps conserve his voice in her memory. And in 2023, Meadow made her first on-screen appearance, a cameo, in Fast 10, part of the Fast and Furious franchise her father helped define, while she frequently references how watching his films helps conserve his voice in her memory. Jack Nicholson's will left Hollywood in shock. In the year 2025, the majority of sources believe that his net worth is somewhere around $400 million. The famed Mulholland Drive compound in Beverly Hills, as well as properties in Malibu, Santa Monica, Hawaii, and other locations, are among the many properties that Nicholson has in his extensive real estate portfolio. These estates are often valued at over $100 million or more, according to estimates. Since the 1960s, he has been dedicated to the accumulation of fine art. According to numerous accounts, the value of his art collection is over $150 million. The remaining portion of his net worth is comprised of his acting career, which spans over 6 decades and includes more than 60 films, substantial wage contracts, including well-known deals such as Batman 1989 and As Good as It Gets, among others, and profit-sharing residuals. There is no reliable source that provides information regarding the actual amount of cash that Jack Nicholson has in his bank accounts or the amount that is entirely liquid, easy to take, without it being necessary to sell any of his interests, including his property, art, or other investments. Things like liquid assets, cash and cash equivalents, and non-liquid assets, real estate, art, unreleased royalties, back-end arrangements, and so on, are not revealed to the general public. The term bank balance refers to a number that is almost definitely an estimate or guess. This number is sometimes derived from the assumption that a particular percentage of total net worth is liquid. Nevertheless, this percentage might vary greatly. The majority of wealthy people do not hold their enormous fortunes in cash. Inflation, which causes cash to lose value, is perilous and does not yield a significant return. Therefore, wealthy people typically have wealth in the form of investments, property, art, and other assets in addition to cash. Chris Hemsworth's net worth is next-level crazy. His breakthrough as Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, significantly raised his income. He negotiates for higher pay each time, and for big ensemble box office hits, his compensation includes profit participation, bonuses when a movie does well. For Avengers, Endgame, and other major Marvel films, he reportedly got somewhere between $15 to $20 million for certain roles, plus bonus shares. He also earns from non-Marvel films, like Extraction. Hemsworth has signed high-profile deals with brands like Tag Heuer, Hugo Boss, etc. These can bring in significant seven-figure contracts, and his public image, action hero, fit, internationally recognized, helps these deals be more lucrative. He co-founded Center, a fitness subscription app, and it leverages his brand, fitness and health, and adds recurring income, subscriptions, which is generally more stable than film projects. This kind of business helps with wealth growth by generating non-film income. Hemsworth owns expensive properties. A few examples: his large mansion in Byron Bay, Australia, nicknamed Fortress Hemsworth, which is a luxury property, is valued quite high. Some estimates are US $30 to $50 million, depending on the source and valuation. He also owned a Malibu home. Properties tend to appreciate over time, so they contribute significantly to his net worth. His net worth has steadily increased over recent years. The jump from earlier single digits in fame to commanding large salaries in blockbusters plus passive income is rapid. Not just big movies, but also apps, endorsements, and real estate, which give him multiple revenue streams. Many actors rely mostly on acting. Hemsworth has spread out his risk, and some of his major sources of money don't just come from set salary, but from back-end profits when films do very well. That magnifies his income from each hit. Kirk Douglas's billion-dollar choice stuns his sons. Kirk's estimated net worth is $60 million, widely misrepresented as much higher, even approaching $1 billion due to lifetime philanthropy and family wealth. Kirk and Ann Douglas donated over $118 million during their lifetime to a wide range of causes, including the Douglas Foundation, founded in 1964, while it became one of the entertainment industry's largest philanthropic organizations, and donated to schools and hospitals, as well as to the arts, Children's Hospital, Los Angeles, St. Lawrence University, and Sinai Temple. They also funded $20 million to the Motion Picture and Television Fund to support retired actors and industry veterans, while the Ann Douglas Center for Women, part of the LA Mission, supports homeless women. Kirk Douglas died on February 5, 2020, and it was later revealed that the vast majority of his estate, which was estimated at $50 million, was donated to charity via the Douglas Foundation. Contrary to what many expected, including some family members, little to no money was left to his children, including Michael Douglas. Michael publicly supported his father's decision, stating he was proud of Kirk's legacy and philanthropy, despite the shocking size of the charitable bequest. Although Kirk's direct estate was not worth $1 billion, the cumulative value of his family's wealth, charitable influence, and legacy over decades was estimated by some analysts and media to have had $1 billion impact. The shock came not just from the donation itself, but from the principal, who was a major Hollywood icon bypassing generational wealth transfer in favor of giving it all away. His decision echoed that of other ultra-wealthy individuals, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, promoting the Giving Pledge, which aims to leave fortunes to charitable causes, not heirs. Brittany Murphy's estate mystery back in the news. Brittany gained fame in the mid-1990s with her role as Ty in Clueless, 1995, and followed by strong performances in Girl, Interrupted, 8 Mile, Don't Say a Word, and voice work in King of the Hill as Luann. By the early 2000s, Murphy was a rising star with estimated earnings in the multi-millions, though not in A-list salary territory. In 2003, she purchased a Hollywood Hills mansion from Britney Spears for $3.85 million, which would later become the center of controversy. She married British screenwriter Simon Monjack in 2007, and the relationship drew scrutiny due to Monjack's controversial financial and legal history. Monjack reportedly had multiple lawsuits, debts, and a shady business past, while allegations rose that Murphy's finances were being poorly managed under his influence. Friends and family reported that Simon isolated Murphy from others and controlled her finances and career decisions. Brittany died suddenly on December 20, 2009, at 32, due to pneumonia, anemia, and drug intoxication from prescription and over-the-counter medicines. The combination of her young age, previous signs of distress, and odd circumstances fueled conspiracy theories and media frenzy, while Murphy died intestate, which created confusion and speculation around her estate's handling. Just 5 months later, Simon died in the same house due to strikingly similar circumstances like pneumonia and anemia, which drew red flags that their eerily parallel deaths sparked renewed investigations and public suspicion, including possible environmental toxin, mold, poisoning, or foul play. Brittany's father publicly claimed she might have been poisoned and sought a toxicology report, while her mother denied the allegations. Despite Murphy's earnings and property ownership, her estate was reported to be surprisingly small, leading to questions: where did her money go? With no will and Monjack in control at the time of her death, Murphy's estate became vulnerable to mismanagement or exploitation, and small lawsuits and creditor claims were filed. But no full public accounting of the estate was ever released. Julia Roberts' net worth makes the headlines. Julia's income can be attributed to long-term brand collaborations, chosen film ventures, and producing credits, which have contributed to her net worth of roughly $250 million. She has received large revenues from other movies such as Ocean's 11 and Eat, Pray, Love, in addition to the blockbuster-level paychecks she received for Erin Brockovich, which was $20 million, and Mona Lisa Smile, which was $25 million. For a considerable amount of time, she has served as a global ambassador for Lancome, earning an estimated $10 million annually. Her overall endorsement value may have surpassed $50 million over the course of her career. Julia was one of the co-founders of Red Home Films, and she also has the opportunity to participate in the back end of projects that she has created or cooperated on. Her earnings are supplemented further by the ongoing residuals she receives from classic films such as Pretty Woman and Erin Brockovich. A San Francisco Edwardian mansion that Roberts purchased in 2020 for $8.3 million and then sold in 2023 for $11.25 million is an example of the expansive luxury property holdings that Robert possesses. Previously owned a home in Maui, a bluff-top residence in Malibu totaling $9.5 million, a beach access home totaling $3.9 million, and a ranch in New Mexico totaling $2.5 million. The role that she played in the Netflix original series Leave the World Behind brought her a big $25 million in 2023. The exact house was featured in her breakthrough film, Mystic Pizza, is currently up for sale for $749,900, evoking feelings of nostalgia among fans and enthusiasts of independent films. Hazel, Phineas, and Henry are the 3 grown children that are depicted in a portrait of Roberts, which reflects the private and family-oriented nature of her life. It was a touching camping shot that she shared with her husband, Danny Moder, on the occasion of their 23rd wedding anniversary. This photo demonstrated that she still maintains her grounded personal values despite being a Hollywood icon. Ashton Kutcher's net worth proves he's a startup genius. Ashton rose to fame in the early 2000s with That 70s Show and Punk'd. By the mid-2000s, his acting career was well established, but he sought opportunities beyond Hollywood. His early interest in technology and the startup ecosystem set the foundation for his future wealth. Ashton partnered with Guy Oseary and billionaire Ron Burkle to launch A-Grade Investments. He pooled $30 million from their own funds to invest in early-stage tech startups, and his aim is to support disruptive, scalable, and mobile-first companies. Ashton invested in Uber when the company was valued at under $5 million. Another early bet on Airbnb, which later became a $100 billion-plus giant. By 2013, A-Grade had reportedly turned $30 million into $250 million plus. Forbes covered that in 2013. Ashton, tech's greatest venture capitalist, was the highest-selling Forbes issue that year. Kutcher launched Sound Ventures, a second fund, this time attracting institutional investors. Ashton shifted from celebrity-fueled funding to formal VC practices. His Sound Ventures raised over $243 million for AI-focused investments. Ashton had exposure to FTX, the now-collapsed crypto exchange. However, his losses from this investment were minimized with a more successful portfolio. He invested in cutting-edge companies like Hugging Face, a leading AI firm valued at $4.5 billion, OpenAI competitors, and ecosystem players. This shift kept Kutcher relevant in modern VC beyond the 2010s tech boom. Ashton demonstrated the diversified nature of his startup bets. In 2025, his estimated net worth is $200 million, conservative estimates. The majority of his wealth now stems from venture capital, startup exits, and private equity, not acting. He was respected among Silicon Valley VCs for his due diligence and founder-first approach. Joan Rivers' inheritance secrets finally revealed. Joan Rivers began accumulating wealth during her rise as a comedian and television personality in the 1960s to 70s and became a household name with her appearance on The Tonight Show and later through her own ventures, including The Joan Rivers Show in the late 1980s. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Rivers purchased several valuable properties, including her famed Upper East Side penthouse in Manhattan and homes in Los Angeles and Connecticut. These properties appreciated substantially over time. Joan Rivers was among the first celebrities to capitalize on personal branding, launching a successful jewelry and fashion line on QVC, which reportedly earned her tens of millions over the years. Even in her later years, Joan remained active through stand-up tours, television hosting, fashion police, book deals, and product endorsements, earning millions annually. Rivers was known for being savvy with her finances, and by the 2000s, she had a team of estate lawyers and financial planners to structure her wealth in trusts and tax-optimized vehicles. Her Manhattan penthouse, reportedly worth around $35 million at the time of her death, and her QVC lifetime sales were estimated at over $1 billion for the brand. Rivers took a significant portion in royalties. She had a vast collection of fine art, antiques, and couture clothing, some of which were auctioned posthumously. Joan passed away in September 2014 due to complications during surgery, and her will, which had been carefully prepared, triggered the creation and execution of multiple trusts. Melissa Rivers was named as the primary beneficiary of her estate, as she was the only child of Joan Rivers, while significant amounts were placed in trusts for her grandson Cooper and multiple charitable organizations. Multiple reports estimate her total estate at between $150 to $200 million, though exact numbers remain private due to the nature of trusts. Farrah Fawcett's art collection sparks legal war. Farrah attended the University of Texas in the late 1960s and reportedly maintained a strong affinity for her alma mater. In her living trust, amended as late as 2007, Fawcett bequeathed all her artwork and art objects to the University of Texas, UT, system, basically making UT the beneficiary of her art collection after her death. Andy Warhol created two similar silkscreen portraits of Farrah Fawcett in 1980 based on Polaroid photographs. These are often called twin portraits, though with slight differences, while at the time of Fawcett's death, June 2009, both portraits were physically present in her condominium. Soon after her death, Ryan O'Neal, her longtime partner, took one of the two portraits from her condo and claimed he did so with the permission of the trustee of Fawcett's estate. The University of Texas, via its Board of Regents, discovered that one of the twin Warhol portraits, the one UT believed was owed to it under the bequest, was missing from Fawcett's collection and sued O'Neal to force its return. UT also claimed that O'Neal might be withholding other artworks from Fawcett's collection that were meant to go to the university under her bequest. O'Neal's key legal position was that the disputed Warhol portrait was a gift to him from Warhol, or given to him by arrangement, and thus was never solely Fawcett's to bequeath. He also argued that he had permission from the trustee to remove the artwork after Fawcett's death, while O'Neal filed a defamation suit against Greg Nevius, a former Fawcett producer, for allegedly making statements that contributed to UT's lawsuit by accusing O'Neal of theft, and he also contended that some witnesses UT relied upon had animus against him, bias, and challenged their credibility, while UT lawyers emphasized Fawcett's expressed wishes in her living trust to leave her art to the university, and the fact that both portraits were included in that. Aretha Franklin's handwritten will splits the family. At the time of death, it was widely believed Aretha had no formal typewritten will. Under Michigan law, where she lived, handwritten holographic wills are permissible, provided they satisfy certain legal criteria, like being in her handwriting, dated and signed, while Aretha left behind 4 sons who repeatedly live under legal guardianship due to disability and have not been actively part of the litigation. In May 2019, several months after her death, multiple handwritten documents surfaced in her Detroit home, generating a dispute among her heirs. In 2010, a document found in a locked cabinet in her home was more elaborate, about a dozen pages, signed on every page and notarized. It included provisions requiring Kekaf and Edward to take business classes to get a certificate or a degree in order to benefit from certain aspects of the estate. It named Ted White Jr. and her niece Sabrina Owens as co-executors, while in 2014, a document was discovered tucked inside a spiral notebook under a couch cushion, or couch cushions, at her home and had a 4-page handwritten note. It contained statements like, "This is my will," and appears to have a signature or mark by Aretha, including a smiley face in the A, in her handwriting. It changes the executor to Kekaf Franklin, removing or crossing out White's name, and gives Kekaf and his children her primary residence in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, plus cars and other personal property. It omits the business classes requirement present in the 2010 will, and though not notarized and lacking witnesses, supporters argue that her clear handwritten intent should govern because the two documents differ, in some respects conflicting. The legal question became, which document reflects her true final wishes and is legally enforceable? After years of dispute and court proceedings, a trial was held in July 2024 in a probate court in Pontiac, Oakland County, Michigan, and the jury deliberated less than an hour and concluded that the 2014 handwritten note should be accepted as her legal will. Carrie Fisher's legacy tied up in legal knots. Carrie died on December 27, 2016, and the next day her mother, actress Debbie Reynolds, died because the timing was so close that this led to some complications in estate handling. At the time of her death, Fisher's personal property, as per her probate papers, was estimated at $6.8 million. Her daughter, Billie Lourdes, is the sole beneficiary named in Fisher's living trust, dated February 20, 2001, and in her last will, dated January 15, 2016, while the estate includes assets like several bank accounts, several LLCs, a 2016 Tesla Model S, life insurance and household items like jewelry, collectibles, and artwork, while intellectual property rights, books, specials, trademarks, and copyrights, and rights to her public image and likeness. Although Fisher had set up a trust to hold many of her assets so they could pass privately to her heir and avoid probate, Many of her assets at the time of death had not been formally transferred into the trust, while this meant that those assets still wound up going through probate, making them publicly disclosed because the trust was underfunded and probate became involved while many of her estate's details, assets, and holdings became public record. This is something many estate planners warn against. The lack of full transfer of assets can negate some of the privacy advantages of a living trust. Fisher and Reynolds both had substantial estates, while some of Fisher's assets overlapped and were connected with her mother's estate, property, shared holdings, as Fisher died before her mother and Reynolds died only one day after. Fisher's portion of Reynolds' estate then passed, under the terms of Reynolds' will, to Billy Lourd. The financial power of Angelina Jolie. In her prime, Angelina commanded $20 million per film, becoming one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses. Some of her early roles, like Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, brought in millions, often between $7 million and $20 million per project. Between 2001 and 2011 alone, her film salaries totaled over $120 million. Jolie secured lucrative deals with luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, $10 million for an ad campaign, Guerlain perfume ambassadorship, high multi-million figures, and some additional partnerships with St. John, Cartier, and Shiseido further added to her income. Angelina founded her production company, Jolie Paz Productions, producing and directing films like Unbroken, By the Sea, and First They Killed My Father, major contributions to her creative legacy and earnings. Her continued involvement in high-profile projects lends both prestige and financial benefit. Some of Angelina's notable properties include the Los Feliz Mansion, formerly Cecil B. DeMille's estate, $24.5 million, Chateau Miraval, French winery estate, valued at around $60 million, later sold as part of the divorce settlement. Other holdings include a Long Island estate, $55 million, a villa in Cambodia, New York apartments, and properties in New Orleans and Malibu. In the settlement finalized in January 2025, Jolie received $80 million and $64 million from the sale of the Miraval winery stake and $11.5 million from selling a Winston Churchill painting. These assets significantly bolstered her net worth. While not major direct income sources, her humanitarian work shapes her public image and long-term influence, and she created the Maddox Jolie Pitt Foundation and the Jolie Pitt Foundation and funded schools. George Clooney's net worth makes the headlines. As a result of his share in the backside profit, Clooney is able to make an additional $20 million for each film he directs. Early fame came from the television show ER, and his remuneration was boosted by hit films including Ocean's 11, Gravity, and Up in the Air when he was working. During his time at Smokehouse Pictures, he worked as a producer and director, while his appearances in films such as Argo and Good Night and Good Luck brought him additional revenue. When it was sold to Diageo in 2017 for a price of up to $1 billion, Casamigos was co-founded by George in 2013. He most certainly received between $150 and $223 million after taxes from his share, which was a significant increase in his wealth. It is reported that he made $40 million from the campaign during his time as a long-term ambassador for Nespresso. There were more arrangements that George made with businesses such as Omega and Martini Vermouth, which generated additional millions of dollars. Lake Como's Villa Oleandra is currently valued at $100 million. A mansion in Studio City, located in Los Angeles, a Berkshire estate in the United Kingdom, a townhouse in New York City, and an estate in Cabo San Lucas are some of the other prime properties. When he made his debut on Broadway in 2025 with the play Good Night and Good Luck, it smashed box office records by earning more than $4 million in a single week. This made it the most grossing non-musical production in the history of the theater. In order to improve his public image and increase the number of platforms he may use to exert influence, George and Amal Clooney co-founded the Clooney Foundation for Justice. Awards such as multiple Academy Awards, Golden Globes, and accolades for lifetime accomplishment are among the recognitions received. Will Smith's net worth makes the headlines. Will Smith's fortune is at $350 million, noting his consistent annual earnings of $40 million, with peak years reaching up to $80 million. His massive paydays from films like King Richard and Emancipation are highlighted. Will's net worth consistently falls between $350 and $375 million, with most reputable sources leaning toward the $350 million mark. Major earnings from projects like King Richard, $60 million, including bonuses, and Emancipation, $35 million. Typically pulls in $40 million annually, and sometimes up to $80 million in high-output years. As co-founder of Westbrook Incorporated, he earns from content creation, brand deals, and digital media. It generates significant revenue, $119,000 to $179,000 per post, from his massive online reach and brand partnerships. Will holds valuable properties such as a $42 million Calabasas mansion and others in Hawaii and Hidden Hills, with total real estate holdings estimated around $100 million or more. He owns high-end vehicles valued at approximately $1.5 million, including brands like Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Maybach, and more. His films have grossed upwards of $9 billion plus worldwide, reinforcing his long-term commercial viability. In a 2024 interview, Smith downplayed the importance of his $350 million net worth, saying he doesn't even know the exact figure, and shared that, after age 50, his focus shifted from accumulating wealth to giving back. He emphasized that material possessions don't bring happiness. Valerie Bertinelli's inheritance makes the headlines. From 1981 until 2007, Valerie Van Halen was married to Eddie Van Halen, and the couple had a son named Wolfgang Van Halen. While many people believe that Wolfgang would receive some of Eddie's inheritance, which could potentially bring indirect financial benefit to Valerie via parental support or shared family heritage, her father passed away in 2020 from cancer. Nevertheless, there has been no specific information made public regarding the possibility of Valerie obtaining a substantial bequest directly from Eddie or his estate. In the year 2022, Valerie sold her home in the Hollywood Hills location for roughly $2.5 million. Prior to that, she had purchased the property for approximately $1.92 million. Following her divorce from Tom Vitale, her financial affairs, including her residences and assets, have been the subject of media attention. Nevertheless, it appears that this is more about the distribution of assets than it is about inheritance. She has accumulated riches over the course of many decades as an actress, novelist, and television personality, cooking shows, among other things, so she has her own established financial status. However, public sources do not indicate a headline like Valerie Bertinelli inherits X millions of dollars from someone in recent times. Tom Cruise's net worth skyrocketed. Tom Cruise is a famous actor born in 1962 in Syracuse, New York. He was raised in a working-class Catholic family. Dyslexia and frequent travel due to his father's unreliable profession were his early challenges. Both contributed to his early problems. Followed by Taps, 1981, and Breakout in Risky Business, 1986, these were his first Hollywood credits. Both films were released in 1981. He also appears in Top Gun, 1986. He made over $2 million on this shoot, one of his first big payments. The film was a global blockbuster and launched him to international celebrity. He landed leading roles and made more money in films including The Color of Money, 1986, Born on the 4th of July, 1989, and A Few Good Men, 1992. These flicks helped him become a successful actor. He made $3 to $8 million per film during this time. The first Mission Impossible film, Mission Impossible, 1996, was released in 1996. Tom's back-end arrangements brought in $70 million, a record for the entertainment sector. Rogue Nation, 2015, and Fallout, 2018, grossed over $694 million worldwide. Cruise made $75 million or more in back-end and production arrangements. After his performance in Top Gun Maverick, 2022, Cruise became one of the few pure action actors and began doing more stunts. He earned $25 to $35 million for every film in addition to his salary. Despite being delayed by the outbreak, it grossed $1.5 billion worldwide. Cruise accepted a reduced starting compensation of $13 million, his greatest salary of his career. After the Mission Impossible series, excitement and anticipation remain. Cruise is expected to make $40 million or more and big profits from the purchase. Tom Cruise is projected to have made $600 to $700 million from the Mission Impossible franchise over 3 decades. Tom still controls most of his film deals, which is unique for artists today. He also manages his rights, merchandise, and back end. Tom owns no ancillary companies. The wealth of Leonardo DiCaprio establishes a new standard for the industry. Famous actor Leonardo DiCaprio was born in Los Angeles, California in 1974. He was raised by a single mother in a poor environment. Advertisements and educational TV shows were his early roles. Leonardo started his cinematic career without Hollywood connections. He made his TV debut in Growing Pains, 1991. This Boy's Life, 1993, with Robert De Niro, was his first major part, and the industry took him seriously as a dramatic actor. Despite its modesty, it was his debut into mainstream entertainment. His performance in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, 1993, earned him an Academy Award nomination at 19. He earned appreciation for his $75,000 work. Titanic, 1997, a worldwide smash, earned him $2.5 million up front and over $40 million on the back end. His global popularity and earnings increased significantly. Leonardo avoided superhero and action films to avoid Hollywood blockbusters. He focused on critically acclaimed films and worked with top directors. The collaboration with Martin Scorsese has grown since Gangs of New York, 2002, The Aviator, 2004, The Departed, 2006, and Blood Diamond, 2006. He started charging $15 to $20 million for every film. He also used smart techniques to deploy backside points on selected films early on. Inception, 2010, paid him $20 million up front and $60 to $70 million back end and box office share. One of his most profitable films, it grossed over $830 million worldwide. The Wolf of Wall Street, 2013, producer Appian Way, had to take a wage cut to make the picture, but the back-end earnings more than made up for it. The first payment was $10 million, but earnings and producer credits added up. His homes are in Los Angeles, New York City, and Malibu. He won Best Actor in The Revenant, 2016, and made $20 to $25 million. He won the Oscar after 5 nominations, boosting his prominence and brand value. Then Appian Way becomes a top-notch producing house. Appian Way has first-look partnerships with Apple TV Plus and Sony. These partnerships guarantee revenue and streaming service equity. $50 to $80 million is the anticipated 2024 income. The wealth of Brad Pitt is a topic of discussion in 2025. Brad Pitt was born in 1963 in Shawnee, Oklahoma, but raised in Missouri. Now a famous actor, but Hollywood was unknown to his middle-class family. 2 weeks before graduating from the University of Missouri in journalism and advertising, he moved to Los Angeles to perform. Driving and being El Polo Loco's mascot were his audition jobs. He debuted on TV in the late 1980s with Dallas and Growing Pains. He appeared in A River Runs Through It, Legends of the Fall, Interview with a Vampire, and Fight Club in 1992 as a rising star. He was worth $30 to $40 million by 1999, up from $500,000 in the early 1990s. Troy, 2004, paid $17.5 million. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 2005, $20 million, and the Ocean's 11 franchise, $10 to $15 million per picture. Babel, 2006, and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 2008, were his best parts. He produced and featured in Moneyball, 2011, World War Z, 2013, and Fury, 2014. Back-end deals frequently carried smaller compensation. These films earned him $25 million. The Oscar winner for Best Supporting Actor in 2019 received $10 million. Back-end increases revenue. Plan B rules streaming and prestige movies. Property and lifestyle assets belong to him. He owns Chateau Miraval in France, a $40 million Los Feliz property, and a $3.5 million Santa Barbara beach house. He owned nearly $300 million, reports said. During the lawsuit, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt possessed $160 million in Chateau Miraval. Tendenci Del Mondo bought Jolie's stake in 2021. Pitt said she was unaware of the transaction in her lawsuit. Brad regained Miraval. He still makes money from his global wine company and luxury goods, Miraval Studios, fragrances, etc. Lawyers charge hefty fees, yet keep money. Despite $30 to $50 million in expected financial loss, production income and back-end partnerships improved net value. Possibly sold to Media One for $300 million. Brad Pitt kept minority ownership and creative power and received a big cash injection, pushing his net worth above $400 million. He earns $20 to $25 million for each main role, especially back-end arrangements, sources claim. Thanks for watching Past Paradise, where Hollywood legends come home. If you enjoyed today's look into Valerie Bertinelli's Inheritance Makes the Headlines, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Got a star or story you want next? Drop it in the comments. Until then, keep the nostalgia alive, only on Past Paradise.